Welcome to day 483 of our DSO journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein, here with my twin brother Brian. And remember, these videos are being sponsored by NFT Tech. They are an investor in DSOFi. So, Coinbase, it seems like they're kind of having some drama there, some legal drama, Brian.
Yeah, so there's a story, and it has possible far-reaching implications for the entire crypto space. The SEC alleges that an ex-Coinbase product manager had been insider trading. So he was charged with insider trading and wire fraud, along with two other individuals. And it's the first of its kind crypto insider trading case. But now you might ask, yeah, but crypto isn't a security, so how can it actually be insider trading? Well, here's the key point here. The important part is that in a separate complaint by the SEC also yesterday, it said that 9 of the 25 tokens that allegedly are traded on Coinbase are considered securities. So this is opening a whole other can of worms. Now you have the SEC claiming that multiple cryptos are securities. And we knew that this was probably eventually going to happen. Uh, but basically, the way that the SEC determines if something's a security is something called the Howey test. And the Howey test says that a security is defined by three things: an investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profit derived from the efforts of others. So they actually characterize 9 of the cryptos or tokens traded on Coinbase as securities. The 9 are not DSO, so you guys can calm down. AMP, Rally, DDX, which is Derivadex, XYO, Rary Governance Token, which is RGT, LCX, Power Ledger, DFX Finance, and Chromatica. So those are the 9 that they say are securities. Those working for Coinbase, they say that none of them are securities and that they thoroughly vet each and every token that's listed. They say Coinbase does not list securities. End of story. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
I mean, it's kind of vague. I mean, if you look at the Halley test, I think it leaves a lot for interpretation. I think it's interesting, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't listed there. I guess because the SEC doesn't believe that there's a reasonable expectation process that's being derived from efforts of others. It's just that basically the value is being derived from what people think it should be worth. I don't know. Like, is DSO, like, could DSO be considered a security? Because technically the value is derived from the efforts of others on the social platform, right? Like, if there's a ton of people taking part in discussion on DSO, trading NFTs on DSO, isn't the value of DSO going to increase because there's more demand for DSO?
It's such a gray area, and I think that the SEC will have some difficulties in proving exactly which are securities and which are not. You know that Ripple is actually involved in a case with the SEC where the SEC says that they are a security, and they're basically fighting to say they aren't. So it'll be interesting to see how that case pans out. It is moving forward. But yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen. The SEC is not going to just allow this free, open crypto space to go on, especially when there's a lot of scams. I think there is need for regulation in some ways. Just how far they take it's going to be interesting to see, and hopefully it's not too far.
Well, here's the other thing. If Coinbase knows that a crypto is going to be listed on Coinbase, typically the price shoots up when this happens, when people find out a coin is being listed on Coinbase. So if employees there know about it and they're going ahead and buying these coins, buying these tokens before the listing hits in hopes that the price spikes and they can quickly sell it, I mean, whether it's a security or not, isn't that just wrong?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I would just say that if you're doing anything that seems like it's unfair to the rest of the market, then it's very likely it could be illegal. So don't do it.
But
We
but
saw
it
this
but can it
happen.
be insider trade? That goes back. Can it be considered insider trading if it's not considered security? So like every time a
Well,
coin's listed on Coinbase or another exchanger, and the employees of that exchanger go out and buy it before it's listed, Is that a crime since it's not a security?
No, and I think that it probably wouldn't be if it's not a security, but I'm not sure. I guess there's other laws that could kind of play into it, like wire fraud. But say you had a baseball card of Barry Bonds, and you had some inside information that Barry Bonds, it was going to be revealed by the media that Barry Bonds was taking steroids right before all that came out, and you went and sold all of your Barry Bonds baseball cards. I mean, that's not illegal. That's just taking advantage of the situation on information that you know that other people don't. But when you're working for a company, that company should have policies that say you're not allowed to trade. That would make the
Yeah.
most sense. We saw an OpenSea employee get charged recently with selling and buying NFTs based on which were going to be listed on OpenSea. I think I think the government's going to come down hard on these people because it is such a new space, and they want to make kind of the whole community, the whole space, know that this isn't something that they're going to deal with.
I mean, personally, I think it's good for the space. I think it legitimizes cryptos in that the government's kind of trying to regulate some of it. I think if the government was like, "Oh, we're not dealing with that. It's just garbage cryptos," I think that would be more detrimental to the crypto space. But I want to bring something up, and this goes back to November of 2021, and it took place on on a Discord server. Uh, and it's Aditya brought it up this morning. He said that it was really interesting that there were a ton of Gringit buys right before the Coinbase listing of DAODAO. And he actually pasted a screenshot from November of 2021 showing a conversation that he was having with Doodles and CFKY and Charles One and a few others about whether insider trading was taking place. And Paul Bark was also in on that conversation. And they were wondering, were Coinbase employees buying DAODAO when it wasn't available yet, when there's a code freeze and you couldn't buy it on Coinbase yet. But the listing came, like, I think days later or even hours later after this took place. And at the time, Paul Burke made a really interesting post on the Discord saying, quote, "Yeah, we know they are in the code freeze for a new listing. Those look like insider moves given the context and recent history." So, I mean, Paul Burke foreshadowed it, foreshadowed some activity by Coinbase employees. I'm not saying illegal activity took place in regards to DAODAO, but it may have. And I'm definitely not accusing DAODAO of doing anything wrong. If anything, I think it would be Coinbase. And I'm not
Well,
accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying, throwing it out there.
and since the SEC isn't saying DISA is a security right now, then was it illegal? So
Exactly.
I
And it doesn't appear so, but again, we're not lawyers. We're not, you know, we don't have the knowledge to say so with certainty. I'm sure there's other legalities, like Brian said, like wire fraud and fraud in general that could play a role in something like that.
right.
So moving on to more DeSo news. Erica Ishaniz announced that an upcoming DAODAO call is going to be taking place next Wednesday, July 27th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. She already had one with the community before. I know it went really well. We didn't make it. I'm going to try and make this one. Actually, I think you made it, Brian, right?
Yes, I made it. It was great. She really handled the community well. Really led the conversation. I look forward to this one for sure.
Yeah, and Erica's getting over being sick. She was a little inactive on DeSo for a few days. Get well soon, Erica. I hope you're feeling better. And I'm looking forward to this July 27th Zoom call with the DAO community. And
Yeah, me too.
go ahead, Brian.
I just said me too.
So there's another community event that's taking place where Erica is kind of engaged in as well, and that is today. There's a DAO Twitter Spaces with John Hillis of Creator Cabins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, Twitter Spaces, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I talked a little bit about what Cabins is doing, Creator Cabins. What they're doing is they're creating these cabins for Web3 communities to congregate in, meet each other in real life, and they're creating a DAO around it. And again, DAO is holding these Twitter Spaces with a group that is in the process of creating a DAO. So there's potential that maybe they bring their DAO onto DAO. There's no confirmation of that. There's no, rumors of it even. But what I'm saying is that I love what Erica and the and DAODAO teams are doing by holding these Twitter Spaces with these communities that are creating DAOs, because I think it has potential to bring them on.
Well, and it's just bringing awareness of both DAO and of DAOs in general. I think if people start recognizing that DAOs are the future and start investing and putting money into DAOs, naturally DAO is going to expand because they are the simplest platform to utilize the utility that DAOs offer.
Yeah, and it's always good that they're answering questions about the platform in real time. So keep up the good work, DAO team. So moving on, Mossified. He yesterday or this morning he discussed in a post that he's considering starting a four week course on how to build community and product in Web3. He asked the community if they'd be interested. A lot of people said they would be. He also said that it will be offered for free to all DAO members with a maximum of 20 seats who are also building projects in the Web3 environment. So I think that's a cool idea. I'd love to see Mossify teach these courses, and I'd probably like to attend as well.
Yeah, Ed Moss is a huge bucket of knowledge. If you haven't ever spoken to him, you'll see what I mean if you attend this event. Uh, Incredibly on point, incredibly intelligent. You'll definitely learn something by listening to what he has to say.
So what's Salil up to, Brian? Salil Sethi.
Yes, so Lil has been doing a lot of work on the Ethereum blockchain. Of course, he runs Open Prosper here on DSO. Tons of stats, great information if you go there. But as DSO has slowed up a little bit, he's been reaching into the Ethereum community. I know I spoke to him about this back in LA a couple months ago, and he was really excited to like inch his way into Ethereum. But he posted some interesting stats from Ethereum NFTs on OpenSea, and he said, "I'm going to give you some OpenSea X stats," and it's interesting because of how slow the market has become from where it was back a few months ago, 2 months ago or so. So on average, OpenSea has admitted 5 million events each day. That means anything like NFT bids, listings, transfers, metadata updates, sales, listing cancellations, etc., are considered a actual event. And 5 million events per day. But 2 months ago, they were doing 20 million events per day. So they're at 25% of where they were just two
Wow.
months ago. And he broke it down on a typical day. The out of these 5 million events, 2.5 million or half of them are NFT bids. 1.2 million are NFT listings, 544,000 are NFT transfers, 516,000 are NFT metadata updates, 64,000 are actual sales, and 27,000 are listing cancellations. That's interesting. So every day there are 2.5 million bids, but only 64,000 sales, which, what is that? Like 2.5% of every bid results in a sale. And there's 1.2 million listings and 64,000 sales. So only 5% of listings, there's 20 times as many listings as there are sales on OpenSea. So I mean that says a lot about the market. If you're listing NFTs and you're not selling them, it's not abnormal.
Hey, I think it makes it even more impressive that DSO NFTs have picked up in this downturn.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. So as Ethereum NFTs have dropped off 75%, DSO NFTs are actually picking up steam in the last 2 months.
And I mean, there's still a very, very small, minute fraction of Ethereum NFT sales. So, I mean, it's nothing to get too excited about, but I think it is interesting.
Absolutely.
So, GD Virtual Galleries, we've been talking a lot about GDS and his virtual galleries that he's been creating. He created one for Michelle Lord recently. Uh, the DAODAO Virtual Hub, this is a big one that he created, and he just released some stats in regards to that. And it has received 500 clicks generated. Average time in the hub has been 10 minutes, and there's been almost 200 views. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. There's a link above. Gabriel GDS, he's doing amazing things, and he continues to do so.
Yeah, there's some pretty impressive numbers, the time that like average user spends within the hub. Because if you look at a traditional Web 2, where it's not this 3D metaverse, I think like the average user spends about 20 seconds at the average website. So this is huge. I know that the metaverse is just definitely going to capture more eyeballs and keep attention longer than the traditional web will.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting transformation and evolution process going from Web 2 to Web 3 and going from, 2D internet browser experiences to a metaverse experience. It's going to be interesting to see how companies utilize marketing techniques in order to gain the most attention and once they suck you into their area within a metaverse, how they keep you there and how they engage you.
Absolutely.
So Sean Slater is going crazy. Sean Slater is going. I think he's rabid. He's been going nuts, giving diamonds out. Uh, he's always has. So everybody knows Sean Slater on DSO. DSO
Is he
OG,
giving
who
these
had
diamonds to us right now?
what?
Is he giving these
I
diamonds that are
I think
falling
he
right
is.
now to
Oh,
us? Thanks,
yeah.
Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, buddy. So he's been giving diamonds for a long, long time. Every day he goes out and gives diamonds, multiple diamonds to so many different people. But in the last 24 hours, he's been going absolutely insane when it comes to giving diamonds. And he has given over 11,000 diamonds. Right now, as we record this video, in the last 24 hours, Sean Slater has given 11,257 diamonds, according to Coinbase. Just amazing.
That is crazy. Yeah, thanks, Sean. It's engagement like this which will help DSO continue and help retain users. So we need more people like Sean Slater. And giving a diamond, a single diamond, is about 1/25th of a penny. So if you give 1,000 diamonds, I mean, what is that? Like $2.50 or something like that. It's not a lot. And you can do it. You can do it. It's just time that you need to spend. And Sean obviously is spending a lot of time.
So 10,000 diamonds would be like just $25.
Yeah,
So
something like that,
thanks so
right?
much, Sean. You're doing amazing things to keep the community engaged. I hope other people kind of take a page out of your own book and feel free to give diamonds to people. And one thing I noticed is that Sean Slater is also at the top of the daily diamond receive chart. When you give gifts, you tend to receive gifts back.
Exactly.
So the first Lander NFT minting is taking place today. We've been talking about Lander for the last several days. I'm excited about it. It's a really cool NFT project by Nigel, a DSO OG. The first minting of these crazy bugs, and they're not ladybugs. We had ladybugs crawling all over our video yesterday. They're not ladybugs. They're these evolved bugs that I think are probably a little more scary looking than
Hmm.
ladybugs.
Yeah, I mean, ladybugs, they could be morphing transformer ladybugs that morph into these scary looking like moths or something like that.
10 a.m. Eastern Time is the drop. The first minting takes place at 10 a.m. Eastern Time today.
Yeah, so let's talk about the top 10 bidders on NFTs. So these people bid on the most NFTs over the last 24 hours, according to NFTZ. And the top 10 were Tyrone Biggums, BitCloud FR, Zian Mead, NFT Pets, Vishnu Sularin, Jerry G, Jijo, Chermislav Digdong, Spunk Art, and Dragonstone. And the most viewed NFT
Wait,
from the
wait, I
last
gotta cut
20.
you off for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
How do you say that first one again? Tyrone Biggums, you said? It's tier
Yes.
one Biggums. Tier
Tier
one.
one bigums. Okay. Apologies, tier one bigums. So the most viewed NFT from the last 24 hours, according to NFTZ, is once again The Mask by Photography by Michelle, which took a little bit of a hiatus from the top list the last 2 days, but is back. And the Swaffs NFT is making a run for the top spot, as is a Goosey's NFT.
Yeah, there's some competition heating up, Michelle. You better start promoting that link some more.
Yeah, so let's quickly jump to the top Diamond Day creators over the last 24 hours. And as we said before, Sean Slater is number one. And these stats are according to Altonbase's algorithms, Altonbase's data. Sean Slater was after Sean Slater was Now and Then, Krasenstein, us, followed by Seals, Barbie Graveyard, who's been up there quite a bit lately, Effed Up Cats, M. Her, Michelle Lord, Miami, Japan, and Quanti.
Congratulations and keep up the good work, people. And I think that's all of the news we have for today. We will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Friday. See ya.